What does it actually take to make a Capricorn lose faith completely? Not disappoint them, not frustrate them, not make them question you. I mean completely shatter their belief. Break their inner foundation. Make them look at the world and say, none of this matters anymore. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Almost nobody has ever seen that happen. You might have seen a Capricorn go silent. You might have seen them walk away. You might have seen them turn cold. But total collapse? Almost never. And that's not because they don't feel. It's not because they're heartless. It's not because they're robotic. It's because their faith is built differently. Most people build their faith on people. Capricorn builds theirs on structure. That difference changes everything. When someone loses faith, it's usually because they placed it all in one place. One relationship, one dream, one promise. They tied their identity to something fragile. When it breaks, they break with it. Capricorn doesn't tie their entire identity to anything external, not even love. And that's where it starts to get uncomfortable for some people. Because if you've ever dated a Capricorn, loved one, or worked closely with one, you may have felt it. That invisible boundary. That sense that no matter how close you are, there's a part of them that remains self-contained. It's not distance. It's insurance. Capricorn does not give 100% of their faith to anyone. Ever. They might give effort. They might give loyalty. They might give years of their life. But the core of their belief system, that stays anchored inside. And that's why pushing them to the point of losing all faith is nearly impossible. But here's where it gets interesting. Capricorns doubt. A lot. They doubt promises. They doubt sudden passion. They doubt fast success. They doubt people who talk too big. They even doubt themselves sometimes. But their doubt doesn't destroy them. It strengthens them. Think about that. Most people think doubt is the enemy of faith. For Capricorn, doubt is the filter that protects faith. They question everything so that when they finally commit, they're not blindsided. They watch patterns. They track consistency. They observe how someone behaves under pressure. They don't just listen to words. They measure actions over time. So when someone betrays them, disappoints them, or reveals inconsistency, it hurts, but it doesn't destroy their worldview. Because somewhere deep down, they already knew it was possible. That's the first major shift you have to understand. Capricorn doesn't expect perfection from people. They expect human weakness. They account for it. So when it shows up, they're not shocked into collapse. They adjust. And that adjustment can feel terrifying if you're on the receiving end. Because Capricorn rarely explodes first. They withdraw. That silence is not confusion. It's calculation. While you're panicking, apologizing, explaining, or defending yourself, they're running internal analysis. Is this a one-time mistake? Or is this a pattern? Is this reparable? Or is the foundation flawed? They don't make emotional decisions in the heat of the moment. They make structural decisions. And once they conclude the structure is unstable, something shifts quietly. They don't scream. They don't beg. They don't chase. They remove. That's one of the most misunderstood things about Capricorn. People think losing faith means dramatic heartbreak. For Capricorn, losing faith in someone looks like detachment. Access revoked. You are no longer inside the system. And here's the twist most people don't see coming. Even when they lose faith in you, they don't lose faith in life. They don't sit there thinking, love is fake, or nothing works. They think, this didn't work. That's a completely different mindset. Capricorn's belief system is built on cause and effect. If I put in effort, I improve. If I stay disciplined, I gain leverage. If I learn from mistakes, I grow stronger. Their faith isn't in people. It's in process. That's why even after massive betrayal, you'll see a Capricorn double down on self-improvement. They hit the gym harder. They sharpen their career. They tighten their routines. They elevate their standards. Not to prove something to you, but to restore equilibrium. Because here's the darker truth. What Capricorn fears is not losing faith in others. It's losing control. They can handle disappointment. They cannot tolerate chaos without response. When life spirals, they instinctively rebuild structure. Schedules, goals, plans, systems. Structure is their therapy. So when you think you've broken them, what you've actually done is triggered reconstruction mode. And reconstruction mode is dangerous. Because when Capricorn rebuilds after losing faith in someone, the new version has higher walls and stronger filters. They learn. They don't romanticize the past. They don't rewrite history to make it softer. They document it internally as data. That's why it's so hard to break their faith completely. But let's go deeper. There is one scenario that can push them toward true crisis. And it's not betrayal. It's not heartbreak. It's not someone leaving. It's when their effort doesn't produce results. If a Capricorn works relentlessly and sees no progress, that's when something inside them trembles. Because their faith is built on the belief that effort compounds. If that equation feels broken, they start questioning reality itself. Not emotionally. Logically. Am I miscalculating? Is the system rigged? Is my strategy flawed? That internal tension is far more destabilizing than a failed relationship. Because now it's not about someone else. It's about their own competence. And if there's one thing Capricorn quietly guards more than love, it's competence. They need to know they can build. They need to know they can survive. They need to know they can climb again. If you ever see a Capricorn truly shaken, it's usually in private, during moments when they feel ineffective. But here's the part that makes them almost unbreakable. They don't sit in that state for long. They study it. They analyze what went wrong. They gather new tools. They adjust strategy. And then they move again. Capricorn's faith is not emotional optimism. It's stubborn persistence. It's the refusal to quit rebuilding. That's why pushing them to total faithlessness is so rare. You can exhaust them. You can disappoint them. You can make them walk away. But erasing their belief in growth, that's nearly impossible. And here's another uncomfortable truth. Capricorn does not lose faith suddenly. It happens slowly. If someone repeatedly lies, if someone repeatedly avoids responsibility, if someone consistently creates instability, Capricorn's trust erodes quietly. They observe. They confirm patterns. They give fewer chances than you think, but more than you deserve. And when the internal verdict is final, they don't negotiate. They detach. That detachment can feel colder than anger. Because anger still means emotional investment. Detachment means closure. And once they detach, it's not about revenge. It's about reallocation. They redirect time, energy, and resources elsewhere. That's another reason they rarely collapse. They don't sit in emotional ruin. They reassign capital. Yes, even emotionally. That doesn't mean they didn't love deeply. Capricorn loves with loyalty and longevity. But they never love at the cost of their entire foundation. And here's something most people miss. Capricorn actually wants to believe in people. They want stability. They want loyalty. They want something solid enough that they don't have to question it. But they refuse to ignore red flags for the sake of fantasy. If they sense inconsistency, they store it. If they see contradiction, they note it. They don't explode immediately. They wait. And waiting is power. Because by the time things fall apart, Capricorn is rarely surprised. And when you remove surprise, you remove shock. And when you remove shock, you prevent collapse. That's the psychological armor. Now let's talk about the most controversial part. Some people say Capricorn never loses faith because they never truly trust anyone fully. There's some truth to that. But it's not emotional deficiency. It's strategic allocation. They don't gamble their entire identity on something unpredictable. That's not coldness. That's survival intelligence. If you expect a Capricorn to lose themselves in you completely, to hand you their entire emotional infrastructure, you will be disappointed. They merge carefully. They bond deeply. But they always maintain self-governance. And that's why when relationships end, they don't dissolve. They restructure. But don't mistake resilience for lack of pain. Capricorn feels deeply. They just don't broadcast it. They process privately. They might replay every conversation in their head. They might question their own judgment. They might grieve in silence. But externally, they move. And here's the final turning point. The only thing that can truly destroy a Capricorn's faith is convincing them that their effort doesn't matter. If they begin to believe that no matter what they do, nothing changes, that's when the internal ground shakes. But even then, something stubborn inside them resists surrender. Because their core belief isn't, everything will work out. It's, I will keep working. That's mountain energy. Storms hit. Snow falls. Wind erodes. The mountain stays. So if you're wondering why the Capricorn in your life didn't crumble the way you expected, it's because their faith isn't tied to you. It's tied to their capacity to rebuild without you. And if you are a Capricorn listening to this, understand something powerful. Your strength isn't that you never doubt. It's that you doubt wisely. You test before you trust. You analyze before you commit. You rebuild before you quit. That's not cold. That's durable. And in a world where so many people place their entire belief in unstable hands, that durability is rare. So the next time someone says Capricorn never loses faith, correct them. They do. They lose faith in people. They lose faith in inconsistency. They lose faith in chaos. But they almost never lose faith in discipline, in growth, and in their own ability to rise again. And that's why breaking them completely is nearly impossible. If this made you see Capricorn differently, hit like. If you know someone who underestimates their quiet strength, share this with them. And if you want more deep psychological breakdowns like this, where we go beyond stereotypes and into the real architecture of each sign, subscribe and stay with us. Because sometimes the strongest kind of faith is the kind that rebuilds in silence.